Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Spreads. I'm sitting here at about 8:45 on Saturday. Just got home and I'm looking at a pretty interesting matchup here between Kiss the Baby and 29 Crash. Yeah, I don't know, Tony. I don't know how this fucking website has your team rated so high as having being in this one even. But let's take a quick look here. Aaron Rodgers versus Peyton Manning. All right, wash. Then Ray Rice versus Thomas Jones. Big victory for Kiss the Baby. Mike Tolbert versus Matt Forte. I'd say those guys are pretty even. Tolbert's going to get all that burn in um, Seattle tonight or tomorrow. So I don't see them doing anything much different from each other. I don't see Forte catching another couple touchdowns like he did before. And then Peyton Hillis versus Forsett. I'll definitely take Hillis over Forsett at this point in their respective careers. Although Hillis is at Baltimore, I still think he's going to be able to squeeze in for a touchdown. And Forsett is not, which the website has. Anyway, weird. Then the receiving core, I like Austin and Collie. I do dig that for Tony. That looks good because it looks like Pierre Garcon's not going to play, so Austin Collie is going to get a lot of that burn. Then Ocho Cinco is going to be solid, but Murphy, really? Lewis Murphy? I don't know. He's got to get a lucky touchdown. He could. He could. But who knows what Grabowski is going to be doing out there. And Vernon Davis, definitely give him the edge over Jermichael Finley, but Finley's a great talent. He just hasn't really been involved, and Vernon is the go-to guy there in San Francisco. Enough said. I don't care what the computer says. 29 Crash going down by at least 20 points this week. Moving on, the High Steppin' Freak versus Solid Snakes, projected to be the highest point getter in the week. Jesus Christ, I can't believe they got him. They got Solid Snakes at 145.93 points this week. Bad matchup for the High Stepper, who's 1-1. Good matchup for Solid Snakes at 2-2. I'm looking at Rivers versus Brady. Let's call that a wash. Adrian Peterson versus Maurice Jones-Drew. Peterson against Detroit should just tear them up. Jones-Drew playing against Jacksonville. I'm sorry, playing against Philadelphia is not going to tear it up. And got to give the edge to the High Stepper. Job at best at Minnesota. Bad matchup. And LaDainian Tomlinson on Sunday night is not going to do well either. Sorry, Solid Snakes. I think your team's looking real weak right there. But when you go to receiver, Larry Fitz, Santana Moss versus T.O. and Kevin Walter. Both of those guys, dog shit. They wouldn't even be on my bench. Well, Larry Fitzgerald, I suppose, would be. But that's it. Yeah, I don't know who's throwing to that guy anymore. It's really bad there in Arizona. And then Aaron Hernandez, interesting pickup for the High Stepper. The guy looks like a freakish athletic talent. I just don't know how Tommy is going to be distributing the ball. If he's going to get it. Winslow's always steady, if unspectacular. I think he's going to have a tough go against that Pittsburgh linebacking core. And they got him projected for 5 catches, 54 and a touch. I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, Clay Matthews has been a real stud for the High Stepper playing defense there. We'll see what he can do if he can keep up his pace. I think this game's a lot more even than the projected stats here. I'm going to have to give it to the High Stepper by about 6 points right there. It's going to be close. A lot closer than that. Now, Primetime versus Don't Laugh, it just might work. Campbell's new team name. Well, the reason that he called his team that is because he's trotting out Bruce Gradkowski as his starting quarterback. Good matchup against Arizona to start his season here. But Jay Cutler is going to do well against Green Bay at home. Got to give the edge to a prime time there. D'Angelo's due for a breakout game, whether or not it's against Cincy. Chris Johnson will have another big game. Hines Ward, Demarius Thomas, Eddie Royal. I don't like starting 2 receivers from the same team, unless that team is like, Green Bay or Indianapolis. Kyle Orton is not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Peyton Manning. Starting both of those guys is a big mistake. I think that's going to be his real downfall, except for the fact that Campbell is trotting out Donald Driver and Darius Hayward Bay. Driver's solid. Hayward Bay, are you kidding me? And then Jacoby Jones, he's a third receiver on his own team. Shouldn't be your third receiver. Really, I don't like either of these squads this week. There's going to be a low-scoring matchup, and I think Prime Time's going to win it in a low-scoring affair, like 85-80, something like that. Moving on, the Riots. LA Riots look solid, man. When I'm seeing a trio of Pierre Thomas and Arian Foster and Michael Turner being benched. Interesting. That is very interesting that he's benching Michael Turner at New Orleans. I guess he thinks it's going to be a shootout and he's not going to get the rock, because I do believe he's probable. Anyway, in favor of Des Bryant and what's supposed to be a shootout, and Deshaun Jackson, Wes Welker, very good receiving core. 2 stud running backs going for him. No Reggie Bush means Pierre Thomas gets more burn. Schaub is going to put up good numbers. Adai I don't like at Denver. Brandon Jackson I don't like at Chicago. There's somebody missing from West Coast's flex spot. I guess he still hasn't decided on that one. Randy Moss and Sims Walker should do some good work, as should Jason Witten in this game, who really wants to prove that he's over his concussion. Patrick Willis is a beast, but so is David Harris. I'll just have to assume West Coast's flex spot is looking ugly. He might have to trot out Marshawn Lynch at New England. I'm going to have to give the edge here to the LA Riots. Team just looks too stacked if you're that good that you can bench Michael Turner even when he's probable. That's going to be not a blowout, but a well-handled victory for the LA Riots there, dropping my little bro down to 1-2. Now, Bedshitter 815, nice new name, playing against his girl, Suck My Bird Season 2. Well, Vic versus Palmer, I'd say that's pretty even. Benson versus Hightower, I'll give it to Benson. McCoy at Jacksonville looks good. Ronnie Brown is probably pretty solid. Don't know if Portis is going to play this week. He did last week, but I don't know if he's going to do it this week. He's questionable right now at St. Louis. That's a tough play. That's a tough decision right there from Meg. Meanwhile, Nate's trotting out Andre Johnson, Michael Crabtree, Dallas Clark, and Visanti Shenko. Loves that 2 tight end strategy. We'll see if it works for you, bud. Whereas Meg got the newly acquired Greg Olson. Should be all right. I still don't understand why Flight 815 or Bedshitter 815 would rather have Crabtree than Forsett right now, but his decisions are his, man, and he's just going to have to go with it. I don't like either of these squads this week very much, but the Bedshitter should come away with a marginal victory here over his lady. And last game, marquee matchup for me, Jersey Madman versus the Kosher Sauce. If I lose, we're both tied at 2-1. If I win, 3-0 and have a firm hold of the division. Alex Smith at KC, very tough matchup. I don't see him putting up 25 points, especially considering that this fucking computer system has him at KC doing more points than Drew Brees at home versus Atlanta. What a bunch of dumbasses these guys are doing the rankings. Steven Jackson, solid. Rashard Mendenhall, solid. Darren McFadden looking much better than he's ever looked before. That's going to be tough to contend with. I'm trotting out Bradshaw and Jamal Charles. Should be a good one. Neither of those guys are spectacular, but we should be able to compete. But Roddy White, Calvin, and Steve Smith with Antonio Gates are going to be very tough for Jersey to match up with Greg Jennings, Marcus Colston, and Dustin Keller. I'm going to have to give my edge through the starting quarterback and flex. And our kickers, whatever. And as far as defense goes, I like my newly acquired John Beeson, dropped by the Birds. I don't know why she dropped him. He's playing pretty well. Not spectacular, but solid. I'm going to hopefully have Beeson have a breakout week against the Cincinnati Bungles. Rolando McClain, let's see if he picks anybody else up and throws them down. That was pretty cool to watch last week. But I'm going to have to give myself the edge in this game, as I do every week, because I don't like these rankings, and they have me losing by 20. I'm going to say I'm going to win this one by about 4 points, and it's going to maybe come down to one of the last games. Anyway, I'll be adjusting the division names as soon as I get the third one in. Seagrave, that means you. So get me some sort of a team name, and I will put it up. And anyway, hope to see some of you guys at my party tomorrow night. I'm sending off an old pal of mine on his next trip in life. So anyway, having a barbecue, got a keg. Should be a good time out here. So if you're coming, by the way, don't bother bringing any beer or whatever. Just throw down a 5-spot or whatever on the keg, and we'll be good. All right, guys. Hope to see any of you that can make it. All the best, and may all your fantasies come true, except if you're Jersey and playing against me.